What if I told you that sometimes the most ordinary people, the ones no one notices, can bring down the walls that even power and wealth can't touch? At a little diner on Main Street in Chicago, the staff dreaded Tuesday mornings. Not because of the rush, not because of the orders, but because that was the day he came in. The man with the $1,000 suit and the coldest eyes you'd ever seen. Every Tuesday, without fail, his sleek black sedan would glide to the curb, and the entire staff would scatter like pigeons in the park. Waitresses suddenly needed to refill sugar jars. The busboy would vanish to mop a spotless floor. Even the cook who'd been there 3 decades would mutter under his breath and slam pots around. His name was Charles Whitman, a self-made billionaire whose fortune had built skyscrapers, sponsored hospitals, and, some whispered, practically owned half the city. But inside that diner, Charles was known for only one thing: making people feel small. And then came the Tuesday in October that no one forgot. Behind the counter stood a new face, Grace Donovan, 62 years old, wiping down mugs with the calm, steady rhythm of someone who had lived enough life not to fear another man's shadow. Grace had worked all kinds of jobs across the country, from truck stops in Arizona to coffee shops in Nevada, and if there was one thing she had learned, it was this: respect is a two-way street. She didn't know Charles Whitman yet, but he was about to know her. The bell above the door jingled, and in walked Charles. He didn't greet a soul, didn't even glance at the regulars. He went straight to his corner booth, sat down heavily, and drummed his fingers on the table like he was keeping time with his own importance. The diner grew quiet, as though everyone was holding their breath. Grace saw her co-workers vanish from sight. Lisa, the sweet young waitress, ducked into the supply closet, and even Mrs. Patterson, the owner, busied herself with paperwork. Grace picked up a coffee pot, tucked a menu under her arm, and walked straight to his table. "Good morning," she said warmly. "Coffee to start?" Charles's icy blue eyes snapped to her. "You're new." It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. "Started Monday," Grace replied, setting down a cup and filling it without waiting for permission. "What can I get you for breakfast?" He stared at her as though daring her to flinch. "My usual." Grace smiled politely. "I don't know your usual yet. Why don't you tell me what you'd like today?" His face darkened. "Are you serious? I've been coming here for 5 years. Everyone knows my order." "Well, I don't," Grace said evenly. "So, if you'd like to eat this morning, you'll need to tell me what it is." The diner seemed to freeze. Forks hovered in midair. Even Jake, the cook, had stepped out of the kitchen with a spatula in his hand just to see if she would survive this. Charles clenched his jaw. Finally, he spat out his order. 2 eggs, over medium, wheat toast dry, hash browns, extra crispy, fresh squeezed orange juice, and coffee that doesn't taste like it's been sitting all night. Grace wrote it down carefully. "Coming right up," she said, turning away. "Wait." His voice sliced through the diner. Grace turned back slowly. "I need you to understand something," Charles said, leaning forward. "My time is worth more than you'll make in a year. When I come here, I expect service, not attitude." The whole room went silent, the kind of silence where hearts thump louder than words. Grace could feel eyes on her, some pitying, some curious, some fearful. She took a breath and answered calmly. "Sir, I gave you service. I took your order politely and accurately. I'm not sure what attitude you're talking about." He narrowed his eyes. "Don't play dumb with me. I know who I am. This city knows who I am." Grace tilted her head thoughtfully. "Funny thing I've noticed," she said. "The people who have to remind others how important they are usually aren't as important as they think." A collective gasp rippled through the diner. Charles's chair screeched back as he stood, looming over her. "Do you have any idea who you're talking to?" Grace met his glare without blinking. "Someone who's hungry for breakfast. Unless you'd prefer to leave. I won't take it personally." For a moment, it looked like he might storm out. His hands shook, whether from fury or something deeper, Grace couldn't tell. But then, slowly, he sat back down. "Bring me my breakfast," he muttered. Grace gave a small nod. "Coming right up." That was the moment everything began to change.